Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Now and Then Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Ben Jordan, along with Michael Vee and Nick Cutler, and we are talking about the now of professional wrestling and the then of professional wrestling. And it is Royal Rumble season, so we are watching another Royal Rumble, this time the 2009 Royal Rumble. So our retro review this week will be the 2009 Royal Rumble. And then in lieu of a watch-along match, we are going to have a new segment that we are going to call The Great Debate. And this one stems from our private...
Wait, let's see if Nick can guess what it is.
Is it going to be about Samoa Joe?
No, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that in the beginning. That's going to be a different debate.
The previous one. The previous large discussion we had in that thread.
Earlier this week, we had a very large discussion in our group chat. About a very polarizing subject that one of us was definitely on the different side than the rest of us.
That Nick Cutler started and then powdered on.
Yes, he did.
he actually brings it up and then just goes MIA like fucking humorous. Nick is now General Erection, fucking MIA. Just fucking my goodness.
I feel like I need to scroll up now to kind of see what the fuck I started.
I'm going to just tease the people. Watching along.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into a big, a great, what we're calling the great debate, revolving around a big story in the lore of professional wrestling. Let's just put it that way.
We'll say
this. Savage and Stephanie?
Yeah.
Yes. Savage in general.
Savage in general. We're going to talk about. We're going to have Ben and I are going to debate.
I did kind of throw that seed out there.
Yeah,
just dip the.
And then he says like nothing. And the thing is like I can see him in our comments, and maybe once in a while he like fat fingers it or something, and the bubbles come up, and then it's just like nothing. It's nothing at all.
Nothing.
Ben and I have spent like an hour of our morning, and Nick's just reading along. Like it's like current events to Nick. Nick's like, yeah, I just want to know what's going on. But fuck.
I was like, what the fuck can I even add to this?
It was like the old days before social media, but he was on social media. So
real. So if you are watching along with us, stick around. It will be worth it. We get into a big discussion about Randy Savage that I'm sure will be polarizing. We'll have everybody with their different opinions.
And we want your opinion on this too.
Yeah,
we definitely want your opinion.
All right, so now we always start with the now of professional wrestling, and it seems like the now of professional wrestling every week is us talking about new releases from WWE. And this week is no different, guys, because there are a bunch of them that came out in the last hours or so. Of course, led by William Regal being released. He was probably the biggest name next to Samoa Joe being released again. But a lot of other ones were supporting characters, supporting people. And really what it was it seemed like a one last flush of all Triple H's NXT fingerprints. They were just doing away with it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, new champion, everything.
Yeah, I mean, they did the symbolic thing where Braun Breaker breaks the old gold X of NXT. It just seems like that's where we're going. Now, the outcry, of course, was a lot of my wrestling friends, including my wrestling friend right here on the show with us. The initial reaction from almost every professional wrestler that I know was, why are they firing William Regal? This doesn't make sense. Are they fucking insane? Why are they firing Regal? It was just that general sentiment. And so I'll start with you, Nick. Like, why was that your reaction? Give me the reasoning for you why it was kind of shocking that they would move on from him at this point.
So ever since I first started getting looked at by WWE, it was pretty much implanted into my head that if you could make Regal a fan of yours, then he could get you signed. The big, one of the big things that I had heard was they were not overly impressed with Sami Callihan, but Callahan cut a promo at Raw and Regal fucking loved the promo and pushed hard for him to get signed. So it's like, if you can get William Regal behind you, you can get looked at. And I have emails saved from him where, because it's a stressful fucking thing to deal with WWE as a whole from a talent aspect, because it's a constant mind fuck. You're being looked at, you're being corresponded with, and then you don't hear from them for fucking a year, and you're ready to fucking just quit. And then I would just get an email like, hey, just checking up on you, making sure everything's going good. Are you doing the things that we've told you? Yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. This guy's literally talked me off the edge of saying, fuck this company, long before I finally said, fuck this company.
Right.
So I was just flabbergasted that they would let him go, because, and granted, I might be biased, but he had so much to offer in terms of talent. But once I kind of stopped and dialed it back, I'm like, but he is obviously part of that Hunter regime.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I am seeing, they are literally getting rid of every single aspect of what Hunter brought to developmental, with the most recent announcement being today, which tickled me pink, that they fucking and I loved it so much when you sent me that message.
Yeah.
Because after I found out that Regal got released, I texted my wife and I was like, they fucking fired Regal. What are they thinking?
Mm-hmm.
And her response was, well, they're obviously not. And I text back and said, I know, right? Fucking fired Gabe Sapolsky already. And less than a day later.
Yes, how about it, Michael? Your thoughts, because you look at it from a different perspective. You kind of look at it from a more business perspective of the company is moving in a different direction, right? What's your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, I mean it's clear they are, but also, I mean, who retires from WWE?
This is Daddy's doing his interview.
Like, who
okay?
makes it that far?
You go get back in bed.
Hi.
You can wave. Go ahead and wave.
Hi.
I'll go get back in bed. Okay? Give me a kiss. I love you.
Mama, go come back.
Yeah, she's coming back later. Okay. Love you.
Oh, such a cutie. Okay,
Nick,
so yes,
that right there.
He's
is
so
why I do not
he's
give a
so
fuck.
planned that spot. He planned that spot. Nick planned that
I'm
spot.
not a baby face yet.
He was like a fucking. You know why he was like? Look, he was a couple minutes late getting into this podcast. He was like a fucking stage mom before this thing started, man. He started yelling at her. He started yelling at her. He probably like switched into Russian and didn't even know he knew how to speak it and shit. Like just all kinds of crazy shit.
All right, baby. At the 8-minute mark, you come in.
Yes. When Daddy touches his nose, but no. I mean, just on this thing, like, I mean, who really retires from WWE? Like, it's a short fucking list, especially with uninterrupted employment, and he's had that for what, 20 years now. Yeah. That's how Vince is. Vince is old himself, but Vince, you know, even. It's consistent. It's banking him consistently. He does not like old people. He does not like having old people around. Like, he really, really doesn't. I mean, and especially like he likes to, you know, shake shit up. You can't see him like saying that to someone. Gotta shake shit up, pal. Like, I mean, you know, he's saying something like that. That's exactly what it is, and he does it. And it's, you know, a lot of the times it's people that, you know, you think, Jesus, you can't find something else for this guy to do. But, I mean, it's consistent with what he does. Like, it wasn't surprising to me at all. Honestly, when I thought about it, I was like, damn, he's been there that long? Like, that's a hell of a run, man.
Hell of a run. He collected a lot of paychecks. But this takes me back to the discussion that we had last week, which is about the producers there. And that kind of lends to what you're talking about, Michael, is that they're going in a different direction. They don't want the old school guys anymore. They want Ken Doane fucking doing agent stuff and telling the rest what to do. You know,
my mindset coach that I had worked with a couple of years ago posted something in his private Facebook group that I'm a part of, and I want to read it because this like encompasses everything that I feel about this company right now and how I really feel like young talent need to look at this company. So he says, WWE is no longer the place it used to be. It's the biggest company in the world for sure, but that nostalgia of if I can only work for WWE one day, it's not that company anymore. It's entirely Wall Street and corporate. That dream of making it there one day and being a lifer, they release people after 6 months for no reason. Even the invincible WWE is no longer the safe place you thought it was. The only thing that you can rely on is you. That's why I've been shouting from the rooftops to put yourself first in this business, because they will chew you up and spit you out if you let them. The only thing they can't take away is who you are. So make yourself marketable, make yourself able to land on your feet anywhere. These same places that tell you to be polite, there are unwritten rules, stay humble, show your loyalty and passion, work for us for free, don't claim benefits, don't take days off, don't get heat. They would all turn on you and piss on your grave in a second without thinking twice. The whole love of the game, sacrifice everything for the business because it's all about love and passion and art. They don't play by the same rules they expect you to play by. They won't sacrifice anything for you. You're a commodity to them. So the only thing you have in the end is you and your family. So stop putting these fucking places on pedestals.
Yeah, I mean,
the only thing I would say to that is that always been that way. It's not new. It's not different. It's the same. It's always been that way. It's been that way for. Listen, I will always consider, regardless of what anybody says, like, I love when Brock Lesnar and Goldberg get in the ring. I don't give a shit about the match so much, but it's the two greatest in the history of the business. And I just love fucking seeing it. Because, and you know why? Because they are not marks for the business. It is a fucking job, and they try to squeeze out everything they can, as they should, because these motherfuckers don't even get paid insurance, man. Like, I don't want to hear any of that shit. Like, I mean, when you can't even get simple things like that, like, you expect me to, you know, and that's the thing too. And Kevin Nash used to say, and he's right, like, the world title is not a work. The champion makes the most money. So that's another idea too. Well, this person should pass the torch. Like, what? Why? Like, what? Why am I passing myself a pay cut and passing you a pay raise? Like, that, I mean, fundamentally, it's a business, and you know, it's always and the promoters have always been that way. They've always tried to get over me. So when guys like that, like,
yeah, they've always done it, but they don't even try to fucking hide it anymore. I think that's the difference now. It's just so wide open and obvious for people to look and be like, what the fuck? Than it was back in the day.
A man died on their show and they kept it running. This was over 20 years ago. And like, it's always been that way. Like, there's so many guys that have been fucked up and hurt. And you know, I understand that from a liability standpoint, you don't want to pay out CTE lawsuits, and some of them are bullshit. Like, you know, when guys have been there 6 months and they wrestled fucking 20 years, you know, everywhere else, and you're the reason for my CTE. But they know that guys are fucked up. They didn't have insurance at the time. They do nothing to take care of now. It's always been that way, and it's been that way forever. There's been some good promoters that, you know, were, you know, respected by the wrestlers and things like that, but they're in the minority. Like, for the most part, these fucking guys, they treat them like fucking circus people.
And I will say, to kind of also kind of be devil's advocate to that guy's point, I would point on the opposite side. There is opportunities though to make a living and stay there. Kevin Owens is a perfect example, right? Like, he could have easily left, but he made himself so valuable to them that they were willing to give him somewhere between $3 and $5 million to sign a new contract. So there are guys that you can go through it. It's just a hell of a lot harder.
Well, that goes back to what he said at the end. Like, you have to make yourself marketable and make yourself able to land on your feet anywhere. That's what Kevin Owens did. Yes, Kevin Owens made himself a star.
And Adam Cole also made themselves marketable where they can land on their feet anywhere. And
absolutely.
They still said, we don't want you. Right? So there are both sides of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the it's funny that you brought up Kevin Nash, Mike, because I never cared much for him until I did my coaching and I got to that point where I was like, wait a minute, all these things that I really believed pretty much the first 3 quarters of my career, I now see as bullshit. And I look at the wrestling business as a business now. So if I'm not making money from an opportunity, I'm not going. And then I start like listening to Kevin Nash shoot interviews. And I remember listening to one where he was like, I was tired of doing the starving artist thing, and I realized that as much as I love the business, I love money more.
Right.
And I was like, Kevin Nash is like one of my top workers now of all time.
Not
even for his in-ring work. He's so fucking smart. He responded to something I said I tagged him in one of his quotes, and he responded to it on Twitter, and he's like, I leave my house for work. Passion doesn't pay my damn mortgage. I am leaving my house for business, which requires compensation.
Yeah. He's maybe the greatest businessman in the history of professional wrestling. You can make
I wouldn't say greatest, but he's in the top 10.
He's right there. He's very good.
He was smart enough to call Bret Hart before Bret got signed in WCW and said, Bret, ask for this much so he could get himself a fucking raise.
He's a worker, man. He's a fucking genius worker. He always is finding the angles for himself, for sure. The other big one, of course, was Samoa Joe.
Hold on. Did he say that?
Yeah. He verified it on one of the Sean Oliver's kayfabe commentary DVDs. He said before Bret got signed, he called Bret and he said, Bret, ask for this much.
He waived it. He waived the favored nations clause. I've seen the WCW contracts from that time.
He said he waived it for Hogan and for Goldberg. He did not waive it for Bret.
He did. Bret's making more money than him. The contracts they came out in a racial discrimination lawsuit. That should be something that we should go through, like just throw like a few names out there, because their names, like, I mean, these are actual contracts and like what they made, and there are names on there that will just make you scratch your fucking head. Like, whoa.
Like, how were they making this much fucking money?
Like, yeah, some making like holy shit, and then some like, you know, like all those luchadors and stuff like that, they're making like 52,000, 75,000, like wrestling all the house shows, like going all over the place. Like it's insane. And then, yeah, it's like, how the fuck is Bam Bam Bigelow making like $400,000 in fucking 2000? Like, what the fuck? Like,
and working TV and pay-per-view.
Yeah, and Barry Windham. When Barry Windham came back with the Daisy Duke shorts and the fucking Gardner gloves and shit when he was teaming with Kurt Hennig, he's making like 450 grand a year. I'm like, what the fuck was that? Coming off the stalker gimmick. Like, who looks at the stalker and, you know, is like, you know what? You're worth about $500,000, man. Like, what the fuck
is worth about $500,000?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Looking at the list, it is one of those things we should probably do it one week, where we go back over and look at what some people were making.
It's insane. It's insane.
Vito and I did it in the past, and it's mind blowing.
It's insane. Like, and Ben will tell you, like, I randomly texted him like in the middle of the night sometimes, like fucking, like, can you believe that fucking Brian Knobbs was making X or, you know, whatever the fuck?
It's
like,
seriously,
it's just like, because I'm just looking at it. It's like, you know, you see what Van Hammer, and it's like, oh my god. But yeah. It's
all those guys that we saw in that awful pay-per-view in 2000 were making a hell of a lot of money to make that awful pay-per-view.
Well, the power plant guys aren't making anything because they're in there. Those contracts are in there. They're making like 50 to 75,000, and they were giving them like per show deals, like $500 per show deals. But
all the stars, we're making.
Yeah, and all the the stars are Stevie Ray, he's getting paid like 750 grand to
commentate.
Yeah,
that's a finish, Tony.
To scream, that's a finish, Tony. That's right.
It completely break kayfabe in the middle of a match with his brother.
I love Stevie Ray.
I don't know what he means, and suckers got to know.
Yeah, I'm an inquisitive guy, Tony. Because suckers got to know.
The other big release that kind of caused a little bit of a stir was, for the second time in the last 12 months, Samoa Joe was released from his WWE contract. This led to us having a little bit of a discussion where I was the minority in that. And this is not something that I've hid from the world. If you've been a person that has watched me do wrestling shows or listened to my wrestling shows in the past, I have for a long time been anti-Samoa Joe. I never got Samoa Joe. Like, after 2004, to me, there's nothing I need to see of Joe that is going to be.
Didn't you say you didn't watch him? You didn't watch a lot of TNA though. Where would you like? So you just completely stopped watching the man? Like, when did you see him after 2004?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I was watching. There was a time where I was paying a lot closer attention. I watched his stuff with Kurt Angle, and it's good, but it's.
Oh, come on!
I never watched a Samoa Joe match after 2004 and went, "Oh man, that's something new." Oh, That's different. It's just.
But that's everybody. Everybody's.
That's a lot of people, right? I get that's a lot of people, but for me, like I don't really care for him to begin with.
Let me ask.
Absolutely refuses to update, and he still.
Let me ask you a question. I will save my rant for the actual review. But who were the last two men in the Royal Rumble that we're about to recap here?
Randy Orton and Triple H, I believe.
Enough said. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. Look, here's the thing with Joe. This can't be denied, right? TNA, top guy. Draw in there. He is the biggest draw, and their biggest pay-per-view ever was him and Angle at fucking Lockdown. He was the biggest draw there. Angle. Hold on. But he's over there. That can't be denied. Ring of Honor, he's over there. Can't be denied. He goes to Pro Wrestling Noah. He's over there. Can't be denied. NXT, he's over there. Can't be denied. WWE main roster, he was over there. And he's a top guy everywhere. Like, he has some main events everywhere.
Listen, I get it. I'm in the minority. A lot of people like Samoa Joe, and I understand that. But when as you're reading all those off, all those different places that he is truly over, other than the WWE main roster, which I'll give you, he surprisingly got over. And his stuff with Brock, I'm sure people really liked. That's the surprise to me. But everything else are all smaller crowds. Samoa Joe does really good in front of hardcore wrestling fans. The guys that were going to IWA, PWG, those people like Samoa Joe. And the NXT.
That would be the case.
Impact has long been that same. It's a very small crowd that is consistently at the same, just because at that time they were taping in the same place every week. So it's very NXT.
Not Noah.
Pro Wrestling Noah when he was in Noah was not the Pro Wrestling Noah.
Yes, it was. 110%. This is what Pro Wrestling Noah, when he was in Pro Wrestling Noah, was the biggest wrestling company in Japan at that time.
Okay, you're right, because at the time he
New
was
Japan's done. They're on fucking network TV.
Yeah, you're right.
They're on network TV. He was over there. Like, he gets over everywhere. It's small, big, whatever. And the fact that he even they're very protective of who they put in there with Brock from like just business reasons. Like, they don't want to waste because he only has X amount of matches. They fucking put him in there with Brock because they thought it would get over, and it did. He's a great
politician, dude. Don't get me wrong.
You got Chad Martinez just pointed that out. Joe and Brock main evented the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. Before I get to what I have to say about him, Ben, did you watch that pay-per-view?
I have not.
Okay, you need to go back and watch the match between Joe and Brock. They put that together so perfectly. I was literally on the edge of my seat from the time the match started to the end of it. Brock, and obviously it's Brock, but Brock sold like a motherfucker for Joe and made Joe look like a fucking monster. And I think the reason why
his great skills, because he's able, when he doesn't come off as a dick to Brock Lesnar, right? So when Brock Lesnar talks to him, Joe is a great politician. He's an amazing politician. And so when you talk to him, he talks intelligently. He doesn't talk like an asshole. He doesn't come off like a jerk. And so you're like, so if you're Brock Lesnar, you're like, all right, I'll put this dude over. He's a great politician. I just don't care.
They did the same. And I think the next month after that at SummerSlam, it was him, Brock, Braun, and Roman Reigns in the Fatal 4-Way. It was fucking amazing. But I think the reason why I'm so pro Joe as opposed to why you're so anti Joe is I didn't watch Joe till he got to WWE.
So there you go.
Because I didn't watch Impact. I didn't watch Ring of Honor. So my first exposure to watching Samoa Joe work was NXT. And then when he got to the main roster and they immediately put him with Brock Lesnar, I automatically gave a shit about him because he was working with my favorite modern day worker. So, and my favorite modern day worker
also
made him
helps
look like
him
$1
get
million.
over the main roster. Brock being willing to work with him obviously helped him get over on the main roster.
Absolutely. He didn't look at Brock like he did Matt Riddle and say, hey, we're never fucking working together, kid. So.
Yeah, which is disappointing because I think fucking Brock Lesnar and Matt Riddle would be fucking amazing. Way better than anything him and Joe could do.
Hey, you could say this too. He's selling out. He as NXT champion, when he's at the top on NXT, he's selling out 15,000 seat arenas too, at least, when they're running them. I mean, NXT was hot and
Yeah,
so on all those other songs.
He's far more popular than I'll ever understand.
I just can't believe that you hold the doing the same thing against him. Because you were just singing Randy Orton's praises. Hold on. Can I show you what 2009 looks like? Because we just saw the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
do you know what 2022 looks like? Because I just watched the day one pay-per-view. Spoiler, this is
it's not the same. That's a no. Okay, maybe
you also tried to tell me that George Randy Savage was the same as Miss Elizabeth Randy Savage. And
No. The women are different, but Randy Savage is the same. He's an abusive fucking dude to his woman in both fucking things. He's unhinged. It's fucking Randy Savage. What is the difference?
He reinvented. At least came up with a new look, something.
He took a lot of steroids and changed his look. Yes, that's what happened. I mean,
he did go on the sauce.
He
late
was
99, early 2000.
But ever go on the sauce? No. Give me a Joe on the sauce. Give me Joe.
No, but Joe's like, all you're saying is here.
Somebody jumps into him in the corner and he sweeps their legs out and throws them down on the ground. Tell me a fucking Samoa Joe match that doesn't have that spot in it. I know Ric Flair always does the Beal, but
Randy Savage doesn't have a fucking a double sledge. Come on, man.
I don't get it. I don't like
everybody has their thing, and that's fine. Listen, the goal of this thing, like we said, is to make money. And if you're making money that way and still, performing well enough to get everybody into it, like that's the goal. And if you can stay over that way the whole time, like Ric Flair was patterned, but Ric Flair is also, he's somebody who, like, people need to see more of his shit before, what was that, like, 87, 88, all that. He's like 36 in 89 when everybody's thinking, how great he is. He was so good before that. But I mean, Ric Flair does the same shit. But you know what? Every fucking time that he walked out there to speak or to have a wrestling match, the crowd was fucking into all of it. So, I mean, this isn't like, people overcomplicate it way more than it is. Like, you're supposed to try to make money and get over. And like, if you found it, same thing with Hogan. Like, Hogan could be the biggest pattern person of all. And guess who made the most money? Like, that's the goal. Like, it's not to fucking
John Cena.
Well, here's
exactly. And I think John Cena's great.
40 times the charisma that Samoa Joe has. He's gotten over despite the fact that he's rather bland. He's rather bland. And
he comes out with his towel and his angry face.
He's very bland, but he gets over because the crowd likes him. And I get it. I'm in the minority. And there's a subsection of wrestling fans that really, really like him. And they have all along the way, wherever he's gone, they have followed him and they have cheered him. That's cool.
He's this era's Taz. Taz had no charisma or any of that other shit either. But he was a believable badass. And that's what at least in ECW, where everybody was 5'4".
WWE, Joe's WWE.
I was gonna say the only difference is Joe got over in WWE. Taz didn't.
Taz, other than beating Kurt Angle in his debut, everything was downhill after that for Taz.
Yeah, no, listen. But in fairness, it just like stops after that. Like, he beats Kurt Angle, and you think it's like something, and then it's like, no, it's nothing.
Have you guys?
And I'm not of Taz by any stretch. Like, I don't hate Taz. I don't love Taz. I think Taz was good at what he did. But I mean, he connects. He has that like aura about him. So charisma-wise, no. But he connects with every crowd that he wrestles in front of. So he has something.
If you watch Bruce and Conrad, no, it was JR and Conrad, because Conrad brings that up. He's like, what the fuck happened? Like, you've got, in the year 2000, you have Taz beating Kurt Angle at the Royal Rumble, ending his undefeated streak, and then exactly 1 year later, he's out of the Royal Rumble in 7 seconds, eliminated by Kane. Like, if that's not someone that's not someone saying that they've lost faith in a guy. And JR said that it was because there were, and he doesn't think that this is true. He said what people were saying is that Taz wasn't safe and that his suplexes were dangerous and yada yada yada. But what JR thinks it was he was 5'7" or 5'8" or whatever, and no one wanted that. Well, I can't sell for him; it'll make me look weak.
Correct.
You
And
know,
he was
so
hulky.
but
He
enough people got.
He was a fat motherfucker
Yeah.
in the span of a year too.
And enough people got into Vince's ear,
Wearing that fucking
and then he got
bullshit.
injured. Like I think he broke his arm or his shoulder or something to where he was out for a while. So by the time he came back, Vince had decided he wasn't going to do anything with him because of everybody getting in his ear. And since he was gone for a while, there was no point in continuing any sort of push. So
Vince was never going to push him.
Yeah, I agree.
That was never going to last.
Paul Heyman, maybe Paul Heyman's greatest trick, if you will, as a booker is making people believe Taz was as legit as they made you believe he was. Me as the like total mark back in the day, like what was this, 96, right? 96 is when Taz is on fire in ECW, right?
Mhm.
They're doing Sabu and him at the pay-per-view at the first pay-per-view. And I believed as a mark, I was like, man, this guy could go to the UFC and be competitive. Like I believed Taz was a fucking killer. I believed he was legit. And that's all a credit to Paul Heyman booking to make you believe that Taz was legit. And then when he got to WWE, he didn't have Paul Heyman there writing everything for him and making sure that he was protected. And once he left Paul Heyman's protection, he got exposed for what he is. He's a 5'7" guy who had limited charisma and got over in front of a much smaller crowd and didn't get over in front of bigger crowds. That's what happened.
Yep.
So I'll say,
and then the internet happened and people started doing shoot interviews and you find out that Rob Van Dam smacked the fuck out of him and punked him out because he was being a fucking prick. And it's like, okay, well, you're obviously not a fucking hard ass. So
now to Taz's credit, he made one of the best career decisions he's ever made. And
by going to commentary,
right?
Fuck yeah.
He's still doing it today. He's still collecting a paycheck right now for it because
pay me a couple $100,000 a year to not fucking bump.
Yeah.
And
Sign me the fuck
put
up.
his son over on commentary now.
Travel once a week, all that stuff.
So to his credit, he made the right move. He made, and for what
he did. And I'm not shitting on Taz.
Joe was trying to make the transition to commentator / producer, and they just must have said, we would rather have fucking Petey Williams tell our wrestlers.
I don't know, man. It was funny though. I read a comment on Facebook that said WWE rehired Samoa Joe just so they could fire him twice to let him know how much they didn't fucking want him.
Right. I would do that shit to Samoa Joe, but. All right, guys. So that was the now of professional wrestling.
Oh, well, don't forget. Hold on, guys. A moment of silence for fucking Gabe Sapolsky.
No, I'm not going to do that. I don't really know Gabe. I've never met Gabe in my entire life, but from all accounts, he was a miserable human being. So
I literally heard this guy. I'm not fucking shitting you. A guy was talking to him at a show that I had came to. I can't remember whether I was there for an actual camp thing or if I was just trying to get on the show or whatever. But he's in like mid conversation with this dude, and out of nowhere, he just like he gets this blank look at his face, and he just looks at this guy that he's talking to, and he just goes, "This conversation is terminated." And then he just turns and walks away. And I was like,
like every story I hear about this guy is like this. Michael, did you ever have any interaction with Gabe Sapolsky?
I did not. I saw him at a show once, and to be honest with you, he kind of carried himself just like an asshole. But I will not give him a moment of silence. But I will give him the 2009 through 2022, the symbol of excellence here, so that we can talk about this fucking goddamn Royal Rumble.
Yes, Royal Rumble 2009. As we go to the retro review, Royal Rumble 2009 takes place in Detroit, Michigan. And there's a lot going on here, but not a lot going on here. ECW exists. WWE, ECW exists.
Crazy.
Split, yeah.
Yeah, So there's not a whole lot of matches, but what matches are on there are interesting. Of course, we open with Jack Swagger defending the ECW championship against Matt Hardy. Whatever. Whatever.
I dug this.
It was a good match. I thought it was a good match.
I dug this too. Yeah, he was selling his arm like consistently through the match. Matt Hardy was, which I liked. The crowd was into it. Very solid stuff. Yeah,
I like
the
way
he's a perfect opening match wrestler. Like you're not gonna shoot your load, but you're gonna be into it, and they stay into it. And if there's action, I liked it.
I did like that they were working the wrestling thing, the wrestling angle where Matt Hardy didn't want to wrestle Jack Swagger because obviously Jack Swagger is a much better wrestler than Matt Hardy. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate that.
I really like how the way that they put Swagger over was clean, but they did it in a manner that didn't kill Hardy because Hardy pretty much they did the deal where Hardy went for the freaking shoulder tackle in the corner. Swagger moves and Hardy just knocks himself out by busting his head on the ring post. And like they sold that too. Like Swagger had to like pull him out and match just like being dead weight as he's pulling it. So they were able to put Swagger over clean, no dirty shit. But it wasn't because of anything that he did. It was because Hardy fucked himself. Mm-hmm. So it was a good way to protect both guys. And I really liked it.
The next match is our WWE Women's Championship match. Beth Phoenix defending against Melina. And there were two extremely surprising things that happened in this match to me. Number one was the result of the match. I was genuinely caught off guard and shocked that Melina won this match. But as shocked as I was then, I was even more shocked when just a few moments later, the commentator revealed that is the third time Melina has won the WWE Women's Championship. I can't believe Melina has a multiple time reign as women's champion. I can't believe that. I blew my mind.
Am I missing something with you guys? She's not fucking terrible. She's not bad at all, and her gimmick is over.
Not finished.
Like the whole paparazzi thing and the entrance is fucking over.
They did fuck that finish up. No, she did have. I'm not surprised she won 3 titles because she's a little sloppy in the ring sometimes, but her character and her persona and all that, like she is over. There's a point where she's not anymore, but she was over for a long time. She was over for a while.
The best thing about that match though is they zoom in on Santino's face after the fucking finish, and he's just like,
oh yeah.
He's looking at Beth like he's afraid of her. Like,
yeah. He's great. We'll get to him later in the Royal Rumble as well.
Anything he does is good.
He's so good,
Fuck
man.
Yeah.
As far as character, like you talk about a guy who gets character, Santino Marella may be one of the best character guys in WWE history. He's really
absolutely. Absolutely.
I gotta say, this next match, John Cena and John Bradshaw Layfield with Shawn Michaels.
Not good.
The match itself may not have been great, but for someone who had no idea what the storyline was around this match, right? WWE is magical with their video packages. I don't know if the stuff in between everything that came up on the video packages was good or bad, but that video package for a guy that didn't know what was going on, I was like, this is a really well told story. It's corny, it's a little bit corny, but everybody involved in it is doing it really well. Like Shawn Michaels is doing his part really well. JBL is doing his part really well. They have, like John Cena doing his part, but then like Undertaker kind of does his part. Like, I just really liked, and I liked the story that they told in the match where Michaels gets in the ring and you don't really know who he's going to super kick at first. He kicks Bradshaw. Then it looks like, he's going to help Cena, but no, he kicks Cena, and then he ends up helping Bradshaw. I really enjoyed it. I thought that it would probably have been better if instead, I think they could have just gone full heel with Shawn Michaels here, and it probably would have been better because when he super kicked John Cena, there was actually probably an equal, if not louder pop than the one when he super kicked Bradshaw. So I think there was definitely, I liked everything about it. The only thing I would have changed is I would have gone hard heel with Shawn Michaels joining JBL and letting them run together. Thoughts, guys?
I think I would have made the match a little shorter.
15 and a half
yeah,
minutes.
this is past my I love JBL as from the 2000 between 2004 and 2006. I love JBL.
Yes.
When he retires and becomes a commentator and then he came back, it was just over for me. And he had gotten in even worse shape. Like he lost weight, but he didn't look like a big, rough, tough Texan anymore. He looked like an old man who lost a bunch of weight up top, but was still kind of pudgy.
Mhm.
And he didn't come off as a threat to me at all. And so it just,
I
like
like
you said, I like the story behind it.
How long is this match?
15
minutes, 29 seconds.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. As a match, it's not good. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's not good. As a story, yes, but there's got to be, and then 15 minutes and then the aftermath and all that too. I mean, like, you could have done this storyline advancement just as effectively without, like, taking 18 minutes for everything else to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say
I would have been okay with a 6 or 7 minute fucking brawl.
Yep.
Because what the fuck is Bradshaw? He's a goddamn brawler.
Yeah.
So have them beat the shit out of each other for a hard 6 or 7 minutes and then get Shawn in there for the finish.
Yeah.
Bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. And I would have fucking popped my load harder than I did. So.
I will say this is one era of Shawn Michaels for a while where he really irritates the fuck out of me though with the like constant like overacting like. And
there is yes he does.
It's like
a smidge, yes.
Oh god, dude, you do this every fucking time, man. Like, just do what you're gonna do here. Yeah, man, come on, man. Yeah, he got a little pattern with that, like where it's just like, just kills.
Got a little lost in the character. Yeah. I definitely agree with you there. But otherwise, I liked everything about it, and I do like JBL. This version of JBL.
I hated the storyline. We got a comment. I hated the storyline that Shawn was broke and needed Bradshaw. It wasn't believable to me. I mean, you could say so. Maybe Shawn wasn't broke in the sense that he had no money, but if he has X amount of dollars tied up in the stock market that he's banking on taking care of his family for the rest of his life, and now that money's gone. So, he's not broke, but he has to start over.
You're using real life. They're using the market crash of 2008 and the real thing. They're using it as a part of a storyline.
I kind of agree with the commenter though that maybe it shouldn't be one of the best ever because think about it, like not all of your assets are in the stock market. I hope not, because especially like it wasn't like we just woke up and the stock market was like it had just instantly crashed one day either. Yeah, like from that part, and it being a top guy, I can kind of see what he's saying, like but. I do like the real life part of it. I just don't know if, man, anything that puts Shawn in that stupid fucking overacting thing is just like, oh, man.
Yeah. The premise itself was great. The execution, not as great as it could have been. There could have been a couple of different tweaks to make it a better, obviously. But they at least were trying to do something.
No, I agree. Yeah, for that, I mean, listen. It's better than fucking John Cena just defending the title.
So random match with JBL, exactly. Yeah. If it would have just been a random 15-minute, 29-second match between those two, it would have been 10 times worse than what we got.
Because their Mania match was not that good. Their Judgment Day match was really good that they had with each other, but that Mania match where Cena wins the title wasn't that good. They did not have the best of chemistry anyway.
I don't know that I've ever watched that as a worker and like really studied it to know whether or not I didn't like it or not. But I do remember watching Judgment Day and thinking, these are the matches that Bradshaw fucking thrives in. Yeah. Is where he could just be fucking Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Dude, his stuff with Eddie Guerrero is incredible.
Oh my God. I'm watching 2004 right now when I'm not watching
the best blade job in the history. The best blade job in the history of the business match in that feud.
Or the worst.
Eddie Guerrero's blade job at that
or the worst, depending on your perspective.
True. But
he did go to the fucking hospital for loss of blood, so that's probably not
for
good.
a guy that loves blood in his wrestling matches, that one is the best. If you haven't seen it, you got to go watch it because JBL fucking whacks Eddie Guerrero in the fucking head with a chair, and the way it just instant coating in a thick
Oh God.
of blood. Like there's the Muda scale. You may have heard of like the Muda scale because there's a legendary match from Japan where Great Muda loses a shitload of blood, but this takes over. This sets a new standard for blood loss.
This was almost uncomfortable to see. Like
the initial when it starts pouring is very uncomfortable because you're like, oh my God, that's a lot of blood.
And it gets even worse because the cameras are still on after Bradshaw leaves the ring, and you see Eddie trying to like pop the crowd, but you can see looking at him, this motherfucker is like starting to like get woozy and his face is starting to drag. Like you should probably cut these cameras off and let him go.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. I'm trying to see if I can find it here if there's like a quick clip. There's not a good angle of it. But dude, you should go back and watch it. It's brutal.
Judgment Day 2004.
Yeah, for sure. Go out of your way. Don't go out of your way to watch this next match. Well, at least if you're me, you won't go out of your way to watch this next match. Edge taking on Jeff Hardy for the WWE Championship. I was surprised and totally forgot and did not realize that Jeff Hardy had a WWE Championship run. I can't believe that, honestly. Like, it's weird. I know he's over, and I guess you're just giving a shot, but he win it on like a fluke. How did he win it?
He was battling with Punk for the title on SmackDown for like a while, wasn't he? At one point too.
No, that was for the World Heavyweight title.
Oh. Yeah.
Hold on a second. Let me
Same
look.
Thing. What the fuck?
Hold on.
Well, Jeff Hardy's drawn money though.
He's super over. Absolutely. It just surprises me that they gave him a run as world champion, unless it was some sort of fluke deal, and which is just to transition the belt over.
I think that's why they wanted to put it on him, is because he's a draw. Like he's always been a draw. I think it was 2008, the Royal Rumble before this, where he challenges for the title, and they do like
Randy Orton, yeah,
they did great business for that. Like people wanted to see him win the title.
He does a super fucking scary spot in this match too. I don't know
Jeff
why.
Hardy, like hell you say,
right? How about it? But first of all, he does a dive off the top of the giant ladder.
It was Armageddon 2008. He literally only had it for a month. He beat Edge and Triple H in a triple threat match.
So it must have some kind of fluke. It had to have been some kind of weird fluky kind of deal.
Yeah.
They get the big ladder out, the big one that they're famous for using. They set it up, and for some reason, it just doesn't make sense to me that Jeff Hardy would take the risk of jumping off this ladder to hurt Chavo Guerrero, who isn't in the match. I was like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. And when he goes to do it, they didn't have anybody holding the ladder, and it was almost completely disastrous because exactly what you expect to happen when somebody jumps off of a ladder when someone's not holding it. If you're not aware of this, when you jump off the top of a ladder and someone isn't holding the bottom, what happens is that when you go to kick off, it just gives way and you just fall. And that's basically what happened here too. And he's lucky that it was close enough that he didn't just smash his face on the edge of the table, because it was disastrous for a second.
That's why if you watch their triple threat ladder match at WrestleMania 2000, when Jeff does the swanton off the top of the ladder, he doesn't jump. He just kind of falls and rolls.
Yeah.
Because there was no one there holding the ladder.
It's dangerous. It's so fucking dangerous to do that. But I will say, I did like the finish of this match.
Yes.
Matt Hardy comes out. It's a no disqualification match. First of all, Vicky Guerrero looks so different. It's just so weird to go back and see here, and you're like, and she's bad. She's so bad on the mic. Like, you're just like, why are they why is this woman out here? Oh, it's because her husband died. But the finish of the match,
heat, though. Vicky was over. She got heat.
I know.
Yeah,
they did. Her and Edge. People can say whatever they want about them, but I mean, they did good TV ratings. They did good business. I mean, that was an effective
Hard to argue.
pairing.
She did get over.
I was a fan
It
when she was
did.
with Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
I just always go back to like she's basically the locker room whore. She that was her job.
That's what they make her. Yeah.
So they she dated or married so many people in the locker room. It was like what is this woman doing?
Yeah, but she made it. I don't know. She made it work. I never really thought about that too much because she was entertaining, man. She was entertaining and she got over. Oh yeah, yes, exactly like that. Yeah, Sabu. He just
Like when
tumbled
Sabu
hard.
fell off the Big Raw son back in the day.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh. Yeah. So, but the finish, of course, is Matt Hardy comes out, and Matt Hardy was the baby face in the match earlier, right? Like Jack Swagger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Matt Hardy comes
Returns.
out, and it looks like he grabs a chair. He looks like he's going to either hit Vicky Guerrero or Edge with this chair, and he turns around and he wallops Jeff Hardy with the chair, knocking him out and allowing Edge to get the victory, which is a perfect way if you're going to start the Hardy brothers in a feud. That's about as good a way you can do it. I don't know how they paid it off. I don't know how good the payoff was to the Hardys breakup.
They did an Extreme Rules match at WrestleMania that year, and I'm glad that they did that because I remember at the time people were like, "Oh, well, this is like the third time that they've split the Hardys up." Yeah, but the first time they did it was in 2001, and they had that one singles match where Lita was the referee, but
Horrible.
neither one of them were really heels.
No, they're
And then they end up
baby
back
faces.
together
Horrible.
a couple weeks later. And
Yeah.
then they split them up in 2002 where Matt came out and gave Jeff the twist of fate and cost him the Intercontinental title, but then they immediately drafted Matt to SmackDown. So you didn't get a payoff. So this was the first time we got them when they were both at a main event level and they were going to blow it off at WrestleMania.
Right.
So
yeah,
but Matt wasn't really at a main event level.
no,
He was never at a main event.
hey,
level.
he was ECW champion,
he was
damn it.
always
Shut
Marty
up.
Exactly.
Jannetty.
The C show.
Yeah, he was always Marty Jannetty to Jeff Hardy, Shawn Michaels.
That would make him Braun Breaker right now.
Which
in terms of
annoys
star
the fuck
power.
out of me because he's a better worker than Jeff. I'm not saying he's more over than Jeff, but he is a better worker than Jeff.
I don't disagree with that, but I thought this match was good. It got over with the crowd. Like Edge and Jeff Hardy, they wrestle differently, and sometimes it works. Like and it looks different than anything else on the show, but it gets over. You know, Jeff will say what you want about Jeff, but he's gonna put his body through some shit to make. They do. They should. They've wrestled a million times, but I thought the match was good. Finish came off well. Like for the undercard, you know, they had some good stuff on the undercard of this Rumble for sure.
Yeah,
I've been to bad ones, trust me.
Yeah, right. It's not. We didn't get any Mountie versus Coco Beware on this fucking Rumble. There wasn't any wasted time. So that does take us to the 30-man over the top Royal Rumble. I love when they do the different numbers in the open and they give you the different statistics.
Yeah, that was really
Royal
cool.
Rumble. I thought it was really fun. You get you see weird things like what was one of the one?
We got to comment 1 second before we move on. Jeff was all flash. Matt had the technical skills. That's what made them work as a team. Yep.
Yes, I agree. That's why they work as a team and they don't work so well as individual wrestlers. When you break them up, they're not as good in my opinion. They're great as a team.
I agree.
Jeff Drew. Jeff did
fucking
very,
Drew.
Man.
I will never say that Jeff. I will never fucking say that Jeff Hardy was more over than Matt Hardy. He wasn't.
Yeah,
but I will always be more of a Matt Hardy guy than a Jeff Hardy guy.
And that's fair, but I mean, for me, like especially with Jeff, like it's not, you know, his style is not what I prefer by any stretch of the imagination. But it's like, you know, I mean, I think he gets a bad rap sometimes where people don't realize how good he is because there is some things he's really good at. Like, yeah, the high spots and some of that shit is way unnecessary, but you know, he's a hell of a bumper and seller too. Like you can get fucked on Jeff Hardy. Like Jeff Hardy, he knows how to fucking sell.
He's
and
very good Ricky Morton.
He is. Absolutely. Like there, you know, so I don't think he gets enough love because there was a time, you know, when they're young, I mean, they both really progressed. Like Matt you can see that he's going to be more solid early on, but he gets a lot better, and so does Jeff. Like they really start, like knowing how to get things out of the crowd, like really maximize what the crowd is doing by what they're doing. So, I mean, I don't think he gets enough. He doesn't get enough love, in my opinion, because everyone they talk about him like he's a fucking yarder. It's like, dude, maybe at one time, for real though, it's like at one time that might have been true, but
his style his style is very similar to Sabu's, actually. Right? When you look at their wrestling styles, they're very different in that it just looks like they're doing a car crash.
Sabu just had a way less higher like efficiency rate of hitting his
correct.
Yes. I was gonna say Jeff and Sabu might do the same shit, but Jeff's always looked so smooth and safe, and Sabu's looked like he might fucking kill you.
Yes, correct. But that was part of the
and himself.
Yes. Well, he's like the least graceful fucking flyer too. Like Sabu, like he looks heavy. He's a kind of a thick dude. Like he looks, like heavy as fuck. Like going in the air with a lot of his
having fucking worked with him, he is heavy as fuck. Yeah. He fucking is.
I bet
he's not. He does not feel light at all.
That leads us to the 30-man over the top rope Royal Rumble, and this match is basically the Randy Orton show. Everything around this match, everything leading up to this match, everything throughout this match is the Randy Orton show. It is 100% a showcase for Randy Orton, who, of course, is the eventual winner of this Royal Rumble. It is almost never in doubt from the moment he comes into this Royal Rumble who's winning. It's like either him or Triple H was winning this Royal Rumble, and they both came in at 7 and 8. Triple H came in at 7. Randy Orton came in at 8. So that gives you, they were both in the match for 48 plus minutes. So that gives you an idea of like, this was the Triple H and Randy Orton show, this Royal Rumble.
But I was into it because they did such a good job of prepping you. Like they gave you that video package where you see Orton kick the fuck out of Vince McMahon, and that he's in trouble with the McMahon family, and it's common knowledge that Hunter is married to Stephanie, and so when Orton's music hits, you get like that stare down between the two, like, oh fuck, like they might not be feuding me, he just kicked his fucking father-in-law in the head, so in actuality they should be, and they immediately go after each other, and it's like, yeah, like they pretty much give it away that fucking Orton's gonna win, because in the grand scheme of things, he had to win because then he was contractually obligated to perform at WrestleMania, which is why he didn't get fired for kicking Vince McMahon. Right. But the way that they told it, I love this Royal Rumble. It was I
know that, Michael, you do not have the same reaction about this Royal Rumble.
The match itself is good. The match itself is not bad, although I do find it funny that Hunter and Orton fucked up the finish. It took him a couple times to grab him there to throw him out. But the match itself is good. It's a lot better than what we watched last week, because you can tell, like, now we've evolved. We can figure out, like, how to get some moves in, and people can, that part's all fine. But just watching it, like, it is built around two people, and one of them is not very good, and that's Hunter, because he is fucking, from a smart standpoint and knowing what to do, all that stuff is still there. But he's shot. You can see him physically. He's shot. He can't jump up for his fucking knee. He can hardly get off the ground. He is so slow, moving around the ring, doing fucking everything, running the ropes, everything. He is like physically shot by the second quad tear.
And he fucks up.
It's not too long after this that he goes part-time, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like next year.
He fucks up a couple things. Like, he fucked up throwing Brian Kendrick out of the Rumble. Like, there was.
Yeah, he went to throw him through the ropes, and Kendrick. You see Kendrick catch himself, like, what the fuck?
What are you doing? And then he goes, and then, oh yeah, hold on. Which, by the way,
other side, kid.
Kendrick coming out with Ezekiel Jackson. That visual works for me. I wish they would have done more. I think that there was a ton of potential. It reminds you of, I don't know if you ever watched it, but Rob Dyrdek and Big Black. It was on MTV for a while. That visual of this like goofy white kid that's like super small, and this huge ass black dude. I just thought that it could have had potential because I like Brian Kendrick a lot. I think he's really talented, but again, he was way too small to be taken seriously.
Yeah, that's
at that point for sure,
especially at that time. We obviously have to pop for fucking Santino Marella.
Yes, because what they did a great job because
I wasn't ready.
The best part is that
I wasn't ready.
Boy, the Warlord held the record.
Yeah, which is insulting to me. Like, I'm like, how the fuck is like the Warlord gonna have the quickest elimination?
Better than the Bushwhacker. Like the Bushwhacker.
I just know this was fucking Hogan's call. Piece of shit.
No, they were buddies. They were gym buddies. They traveled together. Yeah.
Well, then what the fuck? But you know what though? You know what? Mad respect to the fucking Warlord, because as big and as jacked as he was, he ate a lot of shit, because he was always like the first guy out in the fucking Survivor Series matches. He always gets thrown out early in the fucking Royal Rumbles. This dude's just literally like, just give me my fucking steak, give me my fucking sauce, and fucking pay me, and I don't give a fuck what you do.
Yep.
Maybe he had like a bad habit of like not wiping benches down that Hogan ended up using or something.
Right?
Hogan go to Vince and like, yeah, bury this motherfucker tonight, brother. Like, yeah, maybe that's what happened.
I ain't gonna say anything to his face because he's fucking bigger than I am, but let's bury this motherfucker.
What rapper was he a bodyguard for?
Warlord?
Yeah.
He was a bodyguard for who?
For a rapper.
Fucking bodyguard. Hold on.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Interesting. While he's digging
Warlord.
that up, I can't imagine who.
Disambiguation.
But nevertheless, Santino was absolutely great. He played everything about that whole situation awesome. And the best part is that no matter what happens in the rest of the Royal Rumbles, in the history of the Royal Rumble, no one is going to be able to beat going out faster than Santino did. He's literally in, they count it, they do a replay. He's physically in the match for less than a second. Like he steps in and Kane clotheslines him over the top. So he'll always have that where no one will ever beat that record of being the fastest eliminated.
Vince McMahon disagrees with you because anything can happen in the WWF. So.
During his retirement, he extended his services into bodyguarding, working alongside celebrities such as 50 Cent, Thomas Jones, and Kimbo Slice.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He told a story about some shit going
Dave
down.
Batista cites the Warlord as his all-time favorite wrestler.
Yes, I knew that. Yeah.
Who says he's his favorite all-time
Batista.
No
Batista.
shit.
Dax. Yes, Dax the Destroyer.
Yes. My personal favorite highlight of the entire Royal Rumble is Jim Hacksaw Duggan. He's on fire. Everyone sells their ass off for him, and the crowd eats him up the entire way. They're with him on all the punches. My favorite part is he comes in and he's punching everybody, right? And he gets to the Undertaker, and you're like, I wonder what the Undertaker's going to do. And the Undertaker sells like it's fucking Hogan in 86 and bumps for him. And like everybody's doing a bump for him, and the crowd was eating it up. And then when he gets eliminated, the crowd is booing. Like he got the best of anybody in the Rumble, I think.
It's like guys were fighting to get in his way. Like when he got in the ring, you saw like Kane like made a move for him a couple times, like, come over here and punch.
Give it. I want to see it. I want to get punched by Hacksaw too. I want to get punched by
Yep, that's exactly what they were all thinking. Like, get in here, Duggan.
Everybody was marking out for him. It was awesome.
If you put Jim Duggan on fucking at the side of the towers on like 9/12/2001, people still would have yelled fucking ho! Like there would have been no somberness, nothing. Like it does not matter where you put Jim Duggan. They should do fucking vignettes like that where he like walks into a funeral or something and everybody just fucking starts going ho, because no matter where you put Jim Duggan, that's what's gonna happen every fucking.
I don't know where
he is a guy. I have never seen him not over. I've worked with him countless times on indie shows. You see him in WWE. He is never not over. Ever.
His heel run in WCW is not great.
Oh no, it's awful.
He had a
He's-
heel run in WCW.
Yeah, he's Canadian. He fucking turned to the other side, man. He was
And then
Canadian.
he
Is
finds
this
the
in
US
like
title in the trash.
99, 2000, somewhere
It's
in there?
2000.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
God.
a
This is
janitor.
awful.
He's a janitor of WCW for a minute.
Well, he made himself TV champion. He found the TV title in the trash. That was actually okay. Like he seemed like he was,
I agree. That's funny.
like he was having fun there. But yeah,
I was gonna say, hey, I got found a fucking title. I'm a champion.
but he's another guy. He's another guy too. Like if you've never shown it anywhere, that's one thing. But like he's been places and shown that he can. You know, he used to be able to really work and get down. But he in WWF super patterned. That's where he made the most money. Who the fuck like?
You got to feud with Andre. Fuck
Well,
it, man.
Well, no, it's just everyone gets they make it way over complicated too much. It's like because people will shit on Duggan way too much. Every time he goes out, he gets a fucking response.
Yep.
I'll say this though, I find it funny. You guys might not give a shit, but I do find it funny that Duggan does not do jobs. I don't know
really?
if it's like a thing where it was like a personal thing, but I worked with him at Heroes and Legends, and I forget who he was. Troy Miller. So a smaller guy, but who's not going to be small next to Duggan on the Indies?
Uh-huh.
And Duggan walks into the locker room, and he looks at the call sheet, and Troy's standing right next to him. And he's like, "When are we on, son?" And he's like, "I think we're on second or third." And looks like I'm over. And Jim kind of looks down at him and looks up at the call sheet. Well, that's going to have to change, son. He walks out of the locker room. And then about 10 minutes later, the promoter walks in, scratches out Troy's name, and underlines Duggan. And I'm like, well, that didn't take long.
Awesome. That's awesome. I don't know if this is the start of the Legends coming back in the Royal Rumble or not, but I could see them, like, based on the reaction Duggan got, I could see them wanting to do it more because of that reaction.
2000.
Yeah.
2000 Madison Square Garden, Piper and Snuka come out back
2000,
to back.
you had Bob Backlund.
Yes,
2001, you had the Honky Tonk Man.
So you're right. They did it a lot before then, but it just feels like this was like as good of a reaction as it could have gotten. You know,
Piper Snuka.
Still buzzing from last
incredible.
night's Dynamite. Very happy for Jungle Boy and
Piper
Luchasaurus.
Snuka.
Too bad about Ray Phoenix, though, huh?
I can't watch it.
Ugh.
I've seen multiple people post the video, and I have to scroll past it because I will physically get ill if I watch it. I can't watch it.
It was cringy. I watched it once, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, you can't do it. Can't do it.
Poor fucking guy.
All right, so that is the 2000.
Yeah, before we go to the Savage, since the something's coming up about Dynamite. So, what are everyone's thoughts on Bryan Danielson losing the second title match now with
I don't understand what they're doing. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Why are they having these title matches for free on TV?
Doesn't make sense. I don't know why they're not capitalizing on what we thought they could capitalize on. I was talking like Punk and Danielson going there was like Savage and Hogan going to WCW back in the day. And like, it's not that at all. Like at all.
No,
they won.
Those
guys won. Savage and Hogan won. Like that's
right. And Punk wins too, but he's facing guys you don't give a shit about. Why is he wrestling QT Marshall?
No, Savage, yeah.
Because
Savage
QT Marshall owns the company, fucker.
Yeah. I mean, I get why he's wrestling QT Marshall, but I don't know why he's wrestling QT Marshall because it doesn't make sense. Tony Khan is showing flaws in his ability to book, plain and simple, to tell stories.
Yep.
He is botched.
This is that Dave Meltzer stuff being preached and taught for fucking 30 years because and he would gripe at the time when it was Hogan and guys like that coming in. And listen, as a WCW fan, I really was like, fuck this when Hogan came in and beat Flair. But business-wise, it was proven to make sense. Like, his fans want him. They want to see him be successful. So all these extra people that came in and actually watched because of Danielson and Punk, I don't give a shit about Hangman Page, man. I wasn't watching before. And I'm not saying he's not good, but just him and their presentation of him and their product just doesn't excite me. And they're just bringing these guys in. Like, the TV, the TV and pay-per-view is always going to be a balance because they're making most of their money on rights fees. So they got matches there. That part is fine. I don't necessarily have a problem with that because the business has changed.
Right.
But why the fuck are you beating him? Why are you doing it twice? Once he gets beaten, like, use the young guys. You should be trying to get these guys can run roughshod for a little bit. Then you build some young guys in the process so that after a little bit of time, then you can pass the torch. But, like, why isn't Punk and Bryan happening? What are they waiting for? Just fucking do it. It's your biggest now. Do it now. You can make anything else bigger later. Just go back to that. You have time, but do it now while it's still hot. All the extra people came to see them, right? So fucking LA match with, like, but this like slow build is with Punk it's lame.
Lame. And for all these people that might say that they already did Punk and Danielson in WWE, that's just the thing. They did Punk and Danielson in WWE. Punk and Danielson in AEW is going to be a lot different because they're going to have that freedom to go out there and do what the fuck they want. They're not going to have Vince McMahon controlling what the fuck happens on their match.
And if you don't believe what he said, they did Punk and Daniel Bryan position on the card.
No. I don't even think they closed the match.
They were semi-main. Johnny Ace was in the fucking main events. That's who
it was. It was John Cena and
Johnny Ace. Yes, it was John Cena and Johnny Ace. So it was not a big deal. Most people don't even remember that it happened. The shit that you think about, like the biggest shit with Punk and the biggest shit with Bryan, it doesn't even involve each other at all.
Right.
This is fresh thing. It can happen there. You can build it up as a, this is a dream match. But instead it's like, oh, we'll build to it. We'll get to it. They did Hogan Flair first. And they made money.
Yes.
Like, give people what they want.
Here's what's happening. I believe. Here's what I believe is happening. It's Tony Khan pushing back on this idea of, all you do is sign old WWE guys. If you look at all their champions right now, across every single champion in that promotion is a homegrown talent. And I think that's what he's trying to push, is that what he would tell you is we're building up our own stars and just using these guys to help elevate those guys. But I agree with you. It's not the right strategy, and it's not paying off in more people watching your product. And that's ultimately what your goal is as a booker, is to write compelling stories that will make people tune in on a week-to-week basis. And what we know by the ratings is less and less people are watching every week because Bryan Danielson's wrestled 2 draws. That's insane. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, if you don't want to have him win, and you don't want to have the guy he's wrestling lose, what draws are dumb. I don't
have a problem with draws in certain situations because
these situations didn't work.
Well, no, but you can draws. Listen, he doesn't need to lose. So if you're going to do something like that and it still gives somebody some rub at the same time, I don't have a problem with that. But he doesn't need to keep wrestling fucking, as Juventud Guerrero once said, jobbers and jabronis, okay? Like, fucking, can we do some big and do it now? And big stuff
because they really bought Punk. More than anything, they've bought Punk.
Yeah. Punk he's been a non-entity. Like, these are your biggest stars. Yes.
You want to hear some shit?
Yes. Of course.
I just for giggles, I looked it up. CM Punk and Daniel Bryan didn't even semi-main that pay-per-view. The semi-main was Ryback versus Camacho. So Ryback versus Camacho got a later spot on the card than CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship.
Not a big deal. That's what I'm saying. They have a golden opportunity, and they blew it. They have got people invested, and right now it doesn't look good. They keep Your guys will get pushed. You can expose your guys. You can do stuff with them. But right now, just create the biggest matchups that the mainstream wants to see too. The people you're trying to lure new people in. This is what new people want to see. They don't know your guys like that yet. They can watch the shows and get used to them, but right now focus on that shit. And it's the same thing with like Hogan. What made money with Hogan in WCW? Like it's Hogan. It was not Hogan Beefcake, but it's Hogan Flair, and it's Hogan Vader, and it's Hogan Piper.
Oh
and it's
God,
like,
Hogan and Beefcake,
big name guys.
Pay-per-view.
Starrcade '94. Yes.
Hey,
Nobody picked the year
I
1994.
finally found a good video of this. Before we move on, I think we have to show this to people because it is absolutely incredible to watch. This is that JBL Eddie Guerrero chair shot in blood.
You are so fucking obsessed with blood.
Yeah. Bah!
Oh,
look at that fucking blood. Look at that. Look at that. Just fucking leaking everywhere. It's so brutal. It's so
and you can tell that was a fucking hard way. Like that gash in his forehead is from the fucking chair. That is not from a blade.
Every drop of blood in your went right to the head of your dick when you saw that video. Right, you are so excited for fucking blood. Like you've got to have like. I'm like, what's he playing? I'm like, what are you talking about here? He's still looking for the fucking. My goodness.
So good.
Well, we were talking about AEW. I thought he was gonna like man up and watch Ray Phoenix break his arm. No. And then he's like, "We got to show this chair shot." And I'm like, "This motherfucker." Okay, you can't watch this guy break his arm, but watch Eddie Guerrero get fucking murdered.
Yes.
You're disappointing, Kristen. We were talking about AEW because she brought it up, and you wanted to show a guy fucking that needed a blood transfusion later. What the fuck?
I hope Mox comes back when he feels ready, though. Yeah, me too.
I did appreciate that Hangman and Danielson both got color in the match. It did add to the match. I will give.
I like when you know. I don't like
when it makes sense.
If he needs a transfusion, that might be a little too much. But yeah, no, I'm normally with blood.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but
all right, let's wrap this up because we're getting up against the clock here. We promised people the great debate earlier this week in our little group chat. I don't even remember how this fucking started, to be honest with you.
Nick brought it up and then fucking dodged out.
Yeah. So Nick brings up Randy.
So what had happened was we were talking about people getting fired and let go and like never being brought back.
Yes.
And I had mentioned, where was it? Here we go.
It's got look at the smile on his face.
Yeah. Fucking asshole, just shit stirring in that.
Savage got he got brought up because Mike brought up the fact that they had put Elias in bright colors.
Right. Yes.
There was a report that Vince McMahon saw him and said that he looked too much like Randy Savage, and so they needed to scrap the gimmick. Yes. And I just innocently said, it can't just be hurt feelings from him leaving that has him hating Savage this much. And it just opened up the floodgates between them.
That set off literally an hour of Michael and I going back and forth debating this subject because I believe that it really does stem from it's got to be hurt feelings, words said, and that they just ran out of time to make up for it. And I know it
ran out of time. They had fucking 18
forever. Years. They had forever.
I believe they eventually would have made up.
As far as words said, Savage didn't say words in court. All these other Vince was going to go to jail, and he brought back so many people who went to court as witnesses for the prosecution where he would have ended up in jail. Hogan. Well, Hogan wasn't really that bad. That was a little overplayed. But there are a lot. Rick Rude goes in there and talks about, I mean, like there's so many guys that go in there. They're witnesses for the government. He brought every fucking one of them back. He brought the fucking Warrior back who's talked about his daughter,
that right
his
there.
son-in-law.
That's all you need to say. The Ultimate Warrior held this motherfucker up for money during his second
Which
largest
I
pay-per-view
agree.
of the year.
Which leads
And less than a year later, he was fucking back.
And then he brought him back.
And then he
after
brought him
that.
back
Then he
again.
brought him back one more. He brought him back for the fucking Hall of Fame. He
I
always brings people
that
back.
just leads me to believe that they would have made up had Savage not died unexpectedly.
Look at how much time passed. He left at the end of '94. When did he die? 2012.
But we also agree that it's not that he fucked Steph, right? So if there was that much of a grudge, we know that the evidence shows the evidence shows that Vince McMahon doesn't really.
Well, hold on. You gotta throw that out there because some of our listeners might not be privy to that.
Okay, there is a long-standing rumor, myth, whatever the case may be, that the root of why Savage was literally cast out and you couldn't even talk about it. He got the Benoit treatment before it was the Benoit treatment. The rumor has always long been, the myth has always long been that he slept with Stephanie when she was underage or very young, and that Vince caught wind of that. I don't know if it was after he left that came back to him, because that's the only way it got to work. Because when he leaves, Vince McMahon goes on Raw the next night or the next week and says goodbye to Randy Savage and wishes him all the best. So when they
they're going to bring him back. They're going to bring him back in '97. So yeah, it was at one point all is well.
So something happens between when he leaves and when he dies. Ultimately, something that happens in those few years after he leaves, something happens. But what could it have been? Is what
I'll say this, and make of this what you will. I've heard the long-standing rumor is that version, and to me, that sounds like a bunch of the boys are in a car on a fucking road trip, and what could it be? He probably fucked Stephanie, some shit like that.
He probably fucked Stephanie.
Right. But I will say this. I have also heard a more detailed version of that is a lot less general, where specifically she had to have an abortion because of what happened with Savage, and Linda told Vince. So I don't know if that's possible. Listen, I think that it's more than 50-50 that it did not happen, but it is 100% that fucking something happened. I don't know what it is. And Bruce Pritchard said the same, but something fucking happened. It's more than words, because Vince can take words. He'll get his feelings. Watch that Donahue show and just watch all those fucking people on there that are just ripping him to his face in public on national television. And they're all coming back. Billy Graham for the 19th time. Billy Graham tried to sue him fucking 5 times already.
I know, and that's what leads me to be all of the times that he's let guys come back or brought guys back or forgiven guys, if you will. That's what leads me to believe that it would have happened with Savage. It's just it lasted longer than a lot of those guys, and the problem is he died unexpectedly. So it's always going to be a what if. We'll never know for sure. And obviously Vince is very tight-lipped, because if he's not even telling Bruce what the issue is, it has to be something major. And
if you think about it, this grudge carried on even after Savage died, because even when they put him in the Hall, Randy Savage finally going into the fucking Hall of Fame, he should have been the fucking headliner, and they put Arnold on last that year and not Savage.
There, so you really,
it doesn't matter. Savage was the fucking headliner. He should
honestly. If you start taking Stephanie out of it, what the fuck else could it be? You're cool with people trying to send you to jail, right? That's why maybe.
You're cool with people holding you up for money,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Jeff Jarrett did him dirty as fuck.
Lex Luger came back too, because Lex Luger was he was paid by WWE. He was like a consultant for their wellness policy.
He still is.
Yeah,
he's still under contract.
On the payroll, under contract. That's what I'm saying.
He killed
everybody. No.
Lex Luger killed Elizabeth.
No, stop it.
No, he didn't.
He didn't put his hands on her and kill her. But those two doing pills together.
Liz was no. Liz killed Liz.
Yes.
You can't. Lex didn't put the fucking pills in her mouth.
Yes.
Lex didn't make her fucking do
No one else
shit.
is.
And Liz
No one
was
else
fucked.
is.
Liz was fucked up
There
long
were
before
drugs
Lex.
everywhere in that house. So like,
That's fine. No one's.
That
no
doesn't
one's,
mean
no
they were
one's-
all Lex's.
Correct. And no one's. And even if they were, it doesn't matter because it's a choice. No one's substance problem is anybody else's problem. I feel very sorry for Liz. I had to ring the bell for her 10 times in the show.
I need to
very sad.
Before anybody fucking says I don't care, yes, I feel very, very sorry for Elizabeth. But no, like, it's a shitty situation, and I have fucking been there with prescription pain pills. So trust me, I fucking get it. You convince yourself that you can blame and do all this other stuff, but at the end of the day, you're the one that's putting the pills in your mouth and fucking swallowing them.
I will say this too.
There's also enabled, and he enabled because he was also doing.
You can say
but you can't.
He's an enabler, but he's not.
When you have your own problem, though, I mean, that's come on.
It's too.
She's enabling him. It's the same thing. No better, no worse.
That situation was the fucking blind leading the blind. Like, that was never going to fucking end well.
He's not directly responsible, but like, I mean,
but he's back. The point is, after all this, he's back, and
which
fucking
then leads us back to the point where it might be the greatest mystery. And the fucked up thing is, one party is dead. They can't tell they can't tell us what the real thing is, and the other party doesn't talk in general, and definitely ain't talking about this. Vince will probably take it to his grave what the fucking issue was.
But he's not the only one that knows.
If Bruce doesn't know, then who would know?
Maybe Stephanie.
Yeah, right. It's got to be like if it involves her, right?
Linda. You would think Linda knows.
You think like
Linda never asked her husband when. I mean, Linda was involved with the company at one point. You know, a lot more than she is now. You don't think?
I also imagine them in their bed in silk pajamas. Vince and Linda in silk pajamas. She's reading a book and he's reading the newspaper before they go to bed. And he's like, that fucking Randy Savage. I could picture them, discussing it. Sure. So yeah, maybe Linda knows. Maybe Linda will reveal it when Vince passes eventually. Which, by the way,
I don't know.
Cool. I would totally take Vince.
But yeah, I can't see that just being hurt feelings like that.
Yeah, it's got to be more than
Vince
that.
has shown. Vince has gone out of his way to show that you can pretty much piss on his fucking grave,
right? But
he will still, if it's going to make him money.
We don't know if that wouldn't have happened with Savage, right? We have to believe, based on everything we know about Vince, that no matter how bad it was,
none of those people were at a point to where they were told specifically not to bring up their name, and they continue to be the case. Like he's. I mean, it's way different. Like, I mean, that was the biggest part of our argument.
Was Randy still under contract to Time Warner when Vince bought WCW?
No, he was a free agent before they closed. Yeah, he was a free agent for about a whole year before they closed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
So he never brought him back. Never brought him back to Russell Austin or The Rock or fucking just for one match. Go the fuck away. Something.
I know, it's strange. It's the greatest mystery in wrestling history. One of the three greatest mysteries that I'm being, maybe it's recency bias. I don't even know what the other two would be, but it's a tremendous mystery because of exactly what we've just discussed here. Vince has been more than willing to mend fences and bring back people that have done horrific shit to him. Almost put him in jail, put him in prison, and he's brought them back. So
you know what else? What else is a mystery? Evolution.
On that note.
And on that note, exactly. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next Thursday at 9 p.m.
Whoa. We haven't spun the wheel.
I'm sorry. I'm getting
now, guys, since there's only similar to the 1990s and 1980s, I put 2020 and 2021 on the wheel with the decade of 2010.
Okay.
So we've got 2010 through 2021 on the wheel. So here we go. Ben.
Oh, man. I don't even want to know, I don't think.
We are watching the 2017 Royal Rumble, which was actually one of my favorite Royal Rumbles. That was the Royal Rumble where Goldberg entered.
Hold on.
Their return to the Alamo Dome
What's
in
the
San
rest of this
Antonio.
card?
Yeah, I got to break down the rest of this card here for a second. Hold on.
It's
okay. I got
AJ Styles against John Cena.
I got it. I got it.
Yeah, this was very good.
Yeah, that John Cena AJ Styles match is fucking incredible. I did see that. Okay,
Phenomenal.
Here we go. So we got the pre-show: Naomi, Nikki Bella, and Becky Lynch taking on Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and Natalya. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson against Cesaro and Sheamus for the Raw Tag Team Championships.
Oh, fucking Sheamus.
Yeah. I hate.
I got a soft spot for him though, even though he beat the fuck out of me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. You did wrestle Sheamus. We'll get into that next week.
Yeah.
Nia Jax versus Sasha Banks in a singles match. Charlotte.
Is that on the pay-per-view?
It is. It's a pre-show. Those three are pre-show matches.
Oh, it's pre-show? Fuck.
Your pay-per-view is Charlotte Flair defending the Raw Women's Championship against Bayley. The Universal Championship match is Kevin Owens defending against Roman Reigns. Chris Jericho suspended over the ring in a shark cage.
Oh, this was the whole best friend thing. Yeah.
This is when Jericho and Owens were doing their thing. The WWE Cruiserweight Championship is on this pay-per-view as Neville challenges Rich Swann for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. And John Cena and AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. I bet that Neville Rich Swann match is really good.
Yeah. No one will respond to it probably because it's where it's placed on the card. But
correct. Yes, it's between the two heavyweight titles.
But I remember this show being good though.
I think so. And then, of course, we have the Royal Rumble, which I won't spoil who wins, but it's very similar to what we just watched.
But look at the fucking lineup, though. Roman Reigns, The Undertaker, Dean Ambrose, Brock Lesnar, Goldberg. Like all these,
there's also some very interesting names in it. There's also some interesting names. Enzo is in this. Jack Gallagher is in this. Weirdly, Ty Dillinger. That's when he was doing the 10 gimmick at NXT, and he got to come out as at number 10. That was kind of a big deal for him. James Ellsworth is in this Royal Rumble.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, I remember that spot. Yeah, it's funny. This is like I have a very fond memory of this Royal Rumble because I was actually in Florida and I was leaving the very next day on a cruise. And so we had flown in the day before the cruise left, and that was on a Sunday. And I don't know if you guys know the name Terry Fader, but he's kind of like Jeff Dunham, where he's got the fucking puppets. He's a ventriloquist. And my mom had got us all tickets for that. So that night we had gone to see Terry Fader, and then I watched the Royal Rumble in my fucking hotel room on my laptop. I specifically told my wife, I'm like, I have to bring my fucking laptop because the Royal Rumble is on tonight, and I don't miss the fucking Royal Rumble. And just so that Rumble is tied into that entire fucking week. It was just one of my favorite fucking probably my favorite vacation I've ever had in my life. So I love this fucking Royal Rumble because of the memories it triggers.
I specifically remember now, AJ Styles and John Cena tear the fucking house down. If this is the match I'm thinking of, they have amazing chemistry. And
the thing is the promos that they were cutting on each other the weeks beforehand. I remember that one where John Cena looked at him. He's like, "You don't respect me? Why? Because I didn't pay my dues on the Indies for 14 years before I got here. I wasn't bred for the Indies. I was bred for WWE." And I was like, God damn it, that's fucking hot.
Yeah, Cena's no joke on the mic, man. That guy doesn't get buried by anyone. He's not going to get fucked over by anyone on the mic, for sure.
Hey, I saw him at a tryout match there, probably when he was only a few months in. And the crowd was, you could tell, like, right away, everybody that was, they were going nuts for somebody they did not know at all. And then just getting to know on Indies after that too, when he was coming up here and working with APW, like you could tell, like just total pro, like you knew he was going somewhere, man.
Yeah, he's always had the it. That's pretty well established from anybody that saw him in his early career that he had the it. So. All right, fellas. Well, until next Thursday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. This has been the Now on Wrestling Now and Then Wrestling Podcast. For Nick Cutler and Michael V, I'm Ben Jordan. Peace.